What's the worst Christmas present you have received? Instead of received, I'll switch to gave. I bought my whole family tickets to see James Brown live. Literally within minutes of them opening their presents, it was announced on the news Christmas morning that James Brown died. My aunt is very eccentric and would always ask for a Christmas list from me. So, for a few years, I would send her a list, only to realize that she would give me something from the dollar store, wrapped in reused wrapping paper from the previous Christmas. I once got cologne from the dollar store when I was 8 or 9. And she wasn't poor, quite the opposite. She had a lovely house and a pretty high-income job. She was just a little messed up mentally. So, one year, when I was 11 or 12, I thought, I'm only going to ask for one thing and see what happens. A Seattle Seahawks t-shirt. The package arrived. And the day came. And it was indeed a t-shirt, a used Buffalo Bills t-shirt with some stains on the logo. It was the right size. Though, my dad's mom always favored my dad's sister's kids over me and my 2 brothers. She would always get them better gifts than us. One year, in particular, takes the cake. One of my cousins gets a brand new PS2, I get a preschool toy. My younger brother gets a talking dinosaur from the gas station. My older brother gets a used model car. My dad pulls grandma aside and says, "Please stop buying my kids Christmas gifts. They see what's going on here. They're not stupid. I'll buy the gifts from now on and we can just say they're from you." The next year, I got a Toronto Maple Leafs hockey jersey. My younger brother got a PS2 with lots of games and my older brother got some Xbox games. Thanks, Grandma. A comic book that was laying around the house for several months, which I read twice in this period. I didn't know it was supposed to be my surprise present. Here, bud, take this. A comic book. Yes. A pack of cigs and a roll of trash bags. I don't smoke. Guess it was a banner fucking year at your old family. My cousin once gave me an autographed picture of himself, which was funny as hell, so I didn't mind. Welp, I know what I'm giving out for Christmas this year. I participated in a voluntary office Christmas exchange in 2012 with a $30 limit. My gift was a CD-R of the giver's favorite album. I was less than enthused, but nonetheless slid the disc into my car to check it out, only to find out that it was blank. The person had written the band name, album title on the disc, but forgot to actually burn a copy. Edit. It was supposed to be the album Spit by Kitty. Started loving computers at age 7 and 92, ZX Spectrum and then 186, 286 etc. at our local kids club. Kept on going. Learned to code early. Was addicted to everything related to them. Grandma called me and told me she had sent money to my parents to buy me a PC, at 11. In 96. I was so excited. All my friends could not wait to see it and play with me. I could not sleep for days on end. Then Christmas Eve came, we do the gifts in the evening. Rushed under the tree and, surprise, I got a mobile electronic organ player. My mom told me it has buttons, right? Just like a computer. She took the money and bought an automatic washing machine. I'm still fucking upset, Mom. Ooh. This is bad. I wholly expected your story to be more like that your grandmother meant well, but only sent you $50, because that's what she thought a PC cost, or something. But your mother misappropriated your money and did so brazenly enough that you found out about it. Sheesh. My mom asked what my 13-year-old daughter wanted for Christmas and I said, she likes to sew. How this led to our entire extended family buying her nothing but yarn, I do not know. That was 2 years ago and there's still so much yarn. What makes this hilarious is that it didn't say she likes to knit. They heard sew and somehow made the jump to yarn. One year I got what was actually a super cool present. My parents had worked for months putting together this awesome art kit. It was a big toolbox filled with good scissors, glue, paint, colored pencils, glitter, and every other thing a crafty little kid could want. The problem was, every time they would go upstairs to add to it, they had a running joke where they would say, we're going upstairs to feed your present, or we need to take your present for a walk ttt. So of course on Christmas morning, instead of being a little kid who was stoked to get a huge box of art supplies, I was a little kid who was devastated that I didn't get a puppy. What was the point of doing that? LMAO. When I was 18, my grandma gave me the card label from a gift card, no actual gift card, shoved into an empty toilet paper tube and wrapped like a gift. All of my siblings got actual gift cards. Grandma never liked me much. Do we have the same grandmother? Mine once gave me a gift card with like 13 cents left on it. My great-grandma gave my cousin a jock strap from Goodwill. Her mental health was bad at this time. 1992-ish? He started crying. He was 9. Titanic DVD. Pirated copy. Already seen it before twice. Didn't have a case. Just had Titanic written in marker pen. It didn't belong to the person who gifted it. The DVD was scratched and didn't even play. Wow, this is bad. Last year my mom bought me a can opener. Wrapped it and gave it to me when everyone was gathered around exchanging gifts too, so they'd all see and get to share in her laughter. Unfortunately, she was the only one who found it funny. Everyone else just thought it was fucked up. I've got friends who are getting a can opener for Christmas. They don't have a lot of money and spend it all trying to keep their kids in sports, etc. They get cheap ones that always break. I'm getting a $40 one for them as a thank you for everything they've done for me this year. A Lamborghini calendar. My brother got a guitar and amp. My 2 sisters got a bike each. Fuck, I hate Lamborghinis now. One time when I was 10, my mum gave me and my brother a packet of plastic rainbow bendy straws each for Christmas. She was mad at our dad for having brought us back 3 days late from his part of the holidays and took it out on us. Being a contrary soul, I happily took my brother's discarded pack and proceeded to make a million rainbow flutes that I would incessantly try to learn to play. For the next 2 months. I suspect she lived to regret her choice, since I also never cleaned any of my discarded flutes up. Well, she sounds lovely. LOL. A set of miniature butter knives with ceramic fruit and vegetables as the handles. From an aunt who said that I was so hard to shop for. I was 7. I'm just imagining her standing in the kitchenware department being like, "Welp, I've checked this whole aisle trying to find something for that picky niece-nephew of mine. Guess they're getting butter knives. Kids like vegetables, right?" A dish towel. I was 8 years old. Every year my aunt gives our family thrift Santa gifts. Like a bunch. From thrift stores. The thing is, nothing relates to anything. The worst I've gotten are among a Kama Sutra book when I was 13/14, awkward, and a New York Yankees baby Onishi. I don't have kids. I don't watch baseball. Cheap cologne. I don't wear cologne, that I suspect was shoplifted. My grandfather used to give me English leather and shit like that. My aunt. Poor lady. She wasn't in the best financial situation and she had arthritis and cancer. But was sweet beyond what she should have been. She gave me two. When I was 16, a vampire makeup kit. I had never mentioned anything about vampires. I was kind of your run-of-the-mill jock just worried about sports and friends. When I was 15, a floppy black hat with an elastic piece on the back. With pennies glued to the bill with glitter glue. Bless your aunt. An ex gave me an engagement ring for herself. On the idea that I would use it to propose to her. She also gave specific instructions on how and when I should do it. As well as stipulations that she would be the one planning our wedding. We had a terrible relationship and I had been planning on breaking up with her right after the holidays, which I did. I couldn't understand how she thought we were even close to being on the same page. And once it was all over I realized the obvious and what everyone was trying to tell me for 3 years. I was in an abusive relationship. Still. Who the hell buys a ring for someone to give back to them? It's just bad gifting. Did you keep the ring? A pencil. Office supplies. I was in the 2nd grade. It was the class gift exchange. Imagine being a kid. Watching everyone else open doors. And cars. And glitter pens. While you're sitting there with a calculator, tape dispenser, and stapler. Apparently, the girl who drew my name was in the hospital a lot and her parents just grabbed things from the gift shop. No idea why a teddy bear wasn't on the list. I ended up giving everything to my nana since she was a teacher. Or kid's book. A case of Slim Fast. Was I overweight? Yes. But my, not so, passive-aggressive ex-sister-in-law was a bitch. She fairly soon after was talking about weight loss items and specifically told my then wife and I we should never use products like Slim Fast as they will poison you. I can't decide if she was trying to kill me or was just a stupid asshole. Now. Let's not be so selective about this. It's quite possible it could be both answers at the same time. A ceramic jar for holding dog treats when I was 15 when we had just given him away. Miss you rascal. Geez, that's awful. Crying face. A barrel of Quaker Oats. It was fucking hilarious though. My mother-in-law did this for Christmas. When we're visiting, I asked my wife about it and she was like, well, I told her you like trail mix. Me. Yep, but not that much. When I was 13, I asked for Dungeons and Dragons books. I even wrote out directions to the 4 local stores that sold them. My aunt and uncle were known to deviate and try to give whimsical gifts, and hated pre-planned gifts. I got a He-Man pop-up book. And I say he. 50 pounds of russet potatoes. As a guy who really loves potatoes, it sounds like something my mom would get me. I would laugh my ass off. Looking back, it wasn't a bad present. But when I got a pair of pants for Christmas when I was 6, I started crying and screamed out, "You're supposed to get me these anyways." Okay, this one made me burst out laughing. That's so sad. Grinning face with squinting eyes. Poor 6-year-old you. The year I gave my ex-husband a Tag Heuer watch, he gave me a $19.99 Walmart blender. We already had 3 blenders. Hey Mary, ask me what time it is. Go on. Don't say it. John. I swear to God. It's blender time. Switches on all 4 blenders. John. Please, it's 4 a.m. Dude. My uncle gave me a pocket pussy when I was 14. I opened it in front of my family. And of course it was addressed from anyone. I wanted to die for the day. But it was probably one of the best gifts I've ever gotten now that I think about it. Yep. That's something for which you ask someone to step away and then hand them in private. Yikes. I hope it was at least new. And not pre-owned. I hate soap bags. I get at least one every year. I have never once worn through a soap bag. One year I came home for Christmas. Made the dinner. 11 courses, sides, etc. Got up at 6 a.m. to start making it. Presents opening at 9:00 a.m. My parents get me a posh leather soap bag. I hate it. Inside is a mediocre bottle of aftershave that I will feel compelled to keep but will never use. I kick off cost tired, stressed, drunk. Bit of a dick. I rant about the no thought present. Joining us for Christmas is my aunt. Recently divorced. Son committed suicide. I open her present next. A shitty soap bag and a really cheap bottle of aftershave. And that's how I ruined Christmas. What's a soap bag? A gift bag with all sorts of soaps. Or a bag to wrap your own soap? Sorry, English isn't my first language. My brother's ex gave me a boyfriend pillow and a stepper one Christmas. Bit of a slap in the face with that combo. What's a stepper? A pogo stick. I was 14 years old. I wanted a BB gun and when I picked up the box I was like, yes, same size and weight. When I opened, my dad says a pogo stick. My mom swore I said I wanted one. We returned it and I got the green light for a BB gun. It became a family joke. I guess the memory made it a good gift after all. I got a pogo stick when I was like 9 or 10. I didn't ask for it but I ended up being really good at it. My dad played a running prank on me for years where he would either wrap up a toy dug out of my room I forgot about, or he would do something like fill a small box with rocks and put it with the other presents. Without fail, every year I would beg and plead to open a single present early of my choosing. And every time I got the joke box, the rocks sounded like Legos, which I love, so I opened that one. One year he put one of my forgotten toys right out front begging for attention. Bamboozled again. Another year he nestled it towards the very back like he was hiding a real present. He got me again. Without fail he got in my head somehow to guide me towards that present. Someday you'll realize the lengths he went to. Every present was rocks or old toys the day before Christmas. Then whatever you didn't choose was replaced while you were asleep. You had no chance. I'm taking $500 off the debt you owe me. Semicolon, written in a Christmas card from my adopted mother. Edit for context. She kept a running tally of money owed in the time I lived there. Swearing $10, $15 if I was in the house when I supposed to have waited for them to come home first. Stuff like that. If I recall correctly, she still had the notebook ledger 5 years after I moved out. So with the ex-wife, I made an effort with gifts. Got her the second gen iPod one Christmas. Then because she got big into hiking, I picked out an expensive GPS with an SOS. What would I get? Lame ass excuses. Christmas is really for the kids. Or my favorite. Well, we buy stuff throughout the year. So that is our gift. Wow, that sucks. My husband is terrible at gift giving but still makes it a point to at least try. If he really can't figure out what it is I want, he'll ask me for a list and pick a few things to wrap up. I still give better gifts, relieved face, but I wouldn't be able to handle a lack of trying. My deadbeat dad brought 9-year-old girl me motel shampoo and an adult men's shirt he got for free. Wish I was joking. My very first period. This wouldn't have been so bad if I had been told to expect it beforehand. But no. I cried and said I was dying in front of my entire family. Grandparents. Cousins. Everyone. Of course they laughed at me. But I am still mortified 25 years after the fact. This is so sad to me that some adult didn't care enough to explain it to you. To warn you. And that they laughed. I was never told either. Just dealt with it, I guess. Luckily, I'd read about the concept in a Judy Blume, I think, I was a big reader, book. Otherwise I would have had the same reaction as you. A 1,000-piece Nightmare Before Christmas puzzle. Now at first glance that sounds pretty sweet. But the completed picture was that of the final scene of the movie where Jack and Sally hold each other's hands on Spiral Hill. Still sounds nice. Yay. Well, do you know how much of that shot is just black background? I must have spent 3 weeks putting together that puzzle, which was 80% colorless and featureless black pieces, before ultimately giving up on it. Nightmare before, during and several weeks after Christmas. There is a video out there of Bill Burr talking about how his dad once got him a doll for Christmas. And really made it obvious that it was because he had feelings about something. And he took pleasure in torturing his kid like that. Because feelings are girly. And girly is bad. Absolutely fucking brutal. I can't find the video anymore, but yeah, it stuck with me. I mean, I got a shitty present sometimes because my Oma just didn't care enough to try to love me. You know? But it wasn't like straight up cruel like that. Edit. Found the video, you guys. https://www. YouTube.com watch. V equals S8011. Bill thought it would be funny to buy me, a 200-pound man, a pair of lacy panties. It wasn't funny. Especially when my 7-year-old opened his giant perfectly wrapped box and it was also a pair of panties. We didn't have him over anymore after that. A really ugly dress shirt. Black with neon green and red vertical stripes. My grandmother was terrible at picking out clothes. When I was around 13, she got me a shirt with a puffy panel on the chest with a zipper to, I guess, store things in. She gave it to me Christmas Eve. And I had to make sure I wore it Christmas Day when she came around. Like the bulk of the clothes she bought for holidays or birthdays. It was worn once or twice. Then promptly stuck in the back of the closet for a year or two until I outgrew it and had to throw it away. Since my dad isn't on Reddit, I will share his story for him. When he was young, he was hell-bent on becoming a drummer. He would make full drum kits out of my grandmother's pots and pans and whatever he could find. Very detailed setups. After months and months of building drum sets and drumming on anything he could find, he woke up Christmas morning to an acoustic guitar and guitar lessons. He told me he took a few lessons and would always end up flipping the guitar over in the class with the other students and just play it like bongos. A goose. Like a real-life full-size female goose. It was fun though. I named her Rafina. A $100 bill. I was dating and living with an ex at the time. For Christmas he wanted a very fancy and very specific looking button-up shirt. I spent a month making him the shirt and making sure it was perfect. I also made us a nice Christmas dinner with some fun drinks. Christmas morning rolls around and I give him his shirt. He tries it on and loves it. Yay, he then gets a panicked look and his face. Reaches in his pocket. Pulls a $100 out of his wallet. And says, here you go. My friends are coming over today, so You have somewhere to be. Right? Basically he was paying me to leave. But the bright side was, I knew right then and there how he actually felt about me. He was dumped before for the new year. I have a fun $100 bill story as well. My dad. After he had opened the gifts my brother and I had gotten for him. Thoughtful. And what he likes. And after hours of him bragging about all the trips and hunting he had planned for the new year realized he hadn't gotten us presents. What did he do? Grabbed his wallet and threw, well tossed, a Benjamin at us and said sorry I've been so busy I didn't have time to buy you something. Guys it didn't even cover gas. We drove 8 hours each way. Plus stops for food. I've never felt more insignificant in someone's life than that moment. When I was 5 years old I got a belt, a comb, a frisbee, and a piggy bank as presents from my relatives for Christmas. Here is a video, https://yahoo. Beaclerk7c4s of me opening them and slowly breaking down into tears because I just wanted a toy. Sorry. But did you have to dress up in a suit and tie to open Christmas gifts? It was more of a gift for my family to enjoy rather than just for me. I don't know what it's actually called. But in my family we called it the pizza cookie. It was an inedible mass of mostly cashews baked on a pizza pan. We got one every year. We'd politely thank my aunt for her thoughtful gift. And throw it away when we got home. A box of top ramen. Just a standard grocery box of ramen bags. It was wrapped up with a nice bow too. And it was not gifted as a joke. My family knew I was having financial troubles and was only eating one meal a day. They honestly thought they were helping me out. This one's really insulting because if they really wanted to help they could have gotten you more expensive essentials. But they just gave you what was the cheapest. I was 8 or 9. I really wanted one of those Furbies who were really popular back in the days. Come Christmas. My aunt is all proud to give me my present. Hyping me it's something I really wanted. Then I open it and it's a Plushies Furby keychain. I don't remember much but I was told my face fell when I saw it. Though I was raised to not complain about receiving gifts so when she asked me you don't like it, I forcefully, and badly, smiled. Reassuring her that yes. I liked it and I was just surprised. I even put it on my jacket zipper to prove my point. Turned out it was a joke and she did get me a real Furby that she gifted me after. But still. The immediate disappointment was something hard to hide. That reminds me of my younger brother. He wanted a model train so badly. Talked about it all the time. My dad, who was pretty handy, even made him a train table. Painted it. etc. But it was in the basement. Along with the track and 90% of the train. And upstairs under the tree was the engine. Wrapped up. He opens it. And realizes that's it. And begins to cry hysterically. Because he had his heart set on a train and this wasn't it. My parents had a heck of a time calming him down. So they could tell him to go look in the basement. Grandma got me a dollar store electric toothbrush. Y'all know the thing didn't even turn on. I flat out got a lump of coal when I was 11 or 12. I was such a handful shithead kid man. I deserved that lump of coal. Coal is expensive M8. Grew up hunting. And it was a method of feeding the family and stretching the budget. One year we got new hunting gear in September to help with the season's success. Different camo patterns didn't help that much. LOL. Anyways. Christmas rolls around. And I had downstairs excited. I think I was about 14. I knew things had been tight. But there were some boxes under the tree yet yes. I tear into it. I can tell it's clothes. But new clothes paper is off. Pop open the box. And it's the camo I'd been wearing for a couple months. I have no idea how successfully I hid my confusion and disappointment. Looking back. I can completely appreciate their intentions. But I don't think I'll ever forget that heart sink. I try to not be ungrateful for gifts. Cause they aren't required. But to wrap up something you already owned and used as if it was a gift really sucks. Maybe the budget couldn't cover another gift. Fine. But they should have warned you that this was the case. Last year my dad promised me a whole bunch of steaks at Christmas whenever I bought a deep freezer to store them in. I bought a deep freezer immediately. Then in April of this year he gave me the steaks. Which were packaged in March of 2018. The only taste left was freezer burn. Butt plugs from my stepfather. Was it because of all the toots from your flute? My ex-wife bought me snowshoes for Christmas the last year we were together. After multiple discussions about the fact that I was not interested in going snowshoeing with her and her friends. I am a single guy. I think I'm a horrible gift giver. My sisters and brother tell me what my nieces and nephews want. But in the end all I do is just make a contribution in their college savings accounts. $500 for birthday and $500 for Christmas for each of them. My hope is that they will appreciate it when they get older. I love them all very much and I would do anything for them. Keep giving them the $, but maybe pick up a bag of candy or something to go with it too. Your gift will be remembered the most, but it will take time to appreciate it. A notebook made out of elephant poop. Why is that a thing? A bottle of raccoon urine. Not joking. A completely sealed, brand new bottle of raccoon urine. What's the purpose of raccoon urine? I was getting into photography and there was a very specific lens I wanted. A close friend of mine mentioned that she knew someone who sold lenses super cheap and she might be able to get in contact with them. Christmas comes and she got me a gift. It was an exact replica of the lens. But a coffee mug. The only problem is that nowhere on the box did it say it was a coffee mug. I was thrilled and didn't realize what it was, and she had to awkwardly explain that it was not actually the lens. Justin Bieber Christmas album from my aunt. I was 23 at the time. Eons ago I worked for a company owned by the richest man in Minnesota. One year, all of us punes, and there were a couple thousand of us, got a copy of his book. It was all about how he became the richest man in Minnesota. Cheap bastard. Sensory toys. Very degrading. It's like my mom didn't know what I would like. So instead of asking any of my siblings, she took my autism and just picked out a random bundle of sensory toys on Craigslist. I haven't used sensory toys since I was 10. I just wish she would put more thought into it. It would have been better if she didn't get me anything at all. The Christmas after my grandmother passed away, my aunt gave us all the various and sundry junk that she cleaned out of my GMA's house as presents, but signed the tags with my GMA's name. So I got a rusty broken bell ornament from my dead GMA that year. My boyfriend got me a can of pears last year. He was trying to say you guys make a nice pair. I received a pair of used earrings that had obviously been purchased at a second-hand store. They had a sewing needle in the box with it. He tried to tell me he got them from an artisan street vendor. One earring had green growth on it. Totally vile. The information that my parents were getting a divorce when I was 12. The Christmas spirit in me died that day. This thread is just making me sad, lol. I was 9 years old. All I wanted for Christmas was the Lego Hogwarts castle from Harry Potter. I had been a really good kid and student so that I could get my Lego castle. On Christmas morning I got a Harry Potter Lego set. But it was just Hagrid's hut. I didn't even hide my disappointment. I started crying and throwing a tantrum. It's not until like 10 years after that it kind of hit me how shitty I was to my parents. We were kinda broke and I didn't realize how expensive Legos were. But at the time, it legit felt like the worst Christmas present ever. As a parent, you need to set realistic expectations. There have been Christmases where we were dead broke and didn't end up with tantrums from the kids because we set realistic expectations. We still had a lot of fun and the kids still talk about those years. One tradition we started is that no presents go under the tree until after the kids go to bed on Christmas Eve. Want to guess how that started? Yep, we didn't have them one year until someone realized how bad our situation was and dropped some off that night. It was so fun to go from nothing under the tree to something there that we started not putting the presents out early on purpose. Kids are wonderfully understanding if you give them a chance to be. That was on your parents for not giving you a heads up about the situation. A diet book. I was 15. Thanks grandma. That became an eating disorder. My stepsister and I both received a box. Inside was a roll-on Avon deodorant and one of them rainbow lollipops. Meanwhile my mother and her girlfriend were exchanging $1,000 gifts. The boxes they put our presents in cost more than the deodorant and lollipop. Seeing they got our presents from the cupboard. Expressionless face. My mum's girlfriend was a Avon sales lady. The lollipop from a show bag. Face with tears of joy. That's fucked up. Confused face. Worst was from my grandparents. Me. My brother and dad all got a used book each from a charity shop. Like the cover was bent and pages yellowed. My brother and dad have barely read any books in their lives and mine was some adult drama romance novel. I was about 12 at the time, that nobody has ever heard of by some author nobody knows. To top it off, these grandparents were ridiculously wealthy. My granddad was making almost $2 million a year. And their other grandchild got a PS3. Which had just came out. And big stack of games to go with it plus other toys and some clothes. One year. I was maybe 8 years old. My sister and I got just a card from my grandparents saying that instead of buying gifts for us that Christmas they would give money to missionaries in South America. First married Christmas, my brother-in-law gave me a fake cat turd with kitty litter and all. Welcome to the family. He gives similarly gross funny gifts to someone every year. Not Christmas. But my dad gave me socks, jeans and clothing every year for Hanukkah. And act like he was God's greatest gift to mankind for it. The only time he would buy us any clothing at all. Not a surprise that he didn't pay child support either, lol. I grew up in the 90s and 2 different years we got Bible video games. 1. Bible Adventures https://en.m. Wikipedia. Org Wiki Bible Adventures. 2. Exodus https://en.m. Wikipedia. Org Wiki Exodus. Video game. These games were terrible, repetitive, hard, and boring with shitty controls. The only exception being the one where you play as Noah and have to kidnap animals and force them on your boat. My brother got a toothpick dispenser from our grandparents one year. We had a strange childhood. I'm 2 years older than my sister. When she was 5 we walked up to the tree a couple weeks before Christmas and found a huge box with her name on it. I was pissed. I would cry and she would brag about it every night. Then Christmas came and she opened the huge box. It was a large reading lamp. She couldn't stop crying. I couldn't stop laughing. Best Christmas ever. Wait, what was the question? Oh, I got one. My birthday is 4 days before Christmas. So, my mom usually let me open one of my Christmas presents on my birthday. When I was like 11 or so, I grabbed a present. She told me several times to choose something else. But I was determined. And that's how I ended up with Kirby for full Game Boy without a Game Boy for 4 excruciating days. Edit. You'll have no idea how much I begged to open the Game Boy early. But my mom is a woman of her word. So I suffered. I did not like the consequences of my own actions. I did that one to myself last year by buying Miles Morales for the PS5 and then having to wait like 11 days for my PS5 to get to me. My wife and one of my best friends making out in our bedroom. The audacity. My father wrapped and gifted me a wrecked front bumper. It was from his car that I wrecked earlier that fall while in college. Fords fly nice. But landing is a bitch. My ex's parents gave him an alarm clock for Christmas when he was 15. Not even a clock radio. Just an alarm clock. That was his big gift because it was electronic. These same people gave their grandson, my son, a book about manners for his 3rd birthday. And me one kitchen towel for my birthday. Today my ex was over here picking up our kids and he announced, "Guess what? Grandma and Papa are getting you shoes for Christmas." My kids already had shoes on their feet. They were like, "Okay. Good. It's bleak." So one year, my Mila demanded, that I knit a scarf for her for Christmas. She was very specific on colors and style and called several times during December to check on the status of it. She opened it on Christmas Day and was absolutely delighted with it and immediately put it on. Then she started to hand out her presents. Tons of stuff to the kids. My husband. Her other son. And her other dill. Nothing for me. Then I heard, "OMG. I forgot presents for you," and I turned around and found her talking to my cat. She brought the cat presents later. No. I did not get anything. And your husband let her get away with that shit? A book entitled, How to Help Kids Cope with Divorce. Given to me by my husband, at the time, on Christmas morning. In front of our kids, who we hadn't yet told about the impending divorce. Yet. Oh. Yes. And there was that one time he bought me the proper care and feeding of husbands. Fucking psycho. A bottle of allergy medication from Costco. The med I took had recently gone from prescription to OTC and my mom thought it would be great to get me a year's supply. I was in my 20s and by that point you're not supposed to care as much anymore. But I had worked dozens of hours of overtime at my shitty factory job to buy my mom a custom-made birthstone ring for Christmas that year. My sister got beautiful leather boots. My brother got an Xbox. I cried all the way home. That would be so nice if she also got you anything else to go with it. When I was about 10, I received one of those department store men's packages that has cologne, a tie, those stupid hanky things you fold up and put in a suit jacket breast pocket, and a few other random things. I wanted Legos and Transformers. It was a commemorative plate with Disney characters and bas relief. From my husband who obtained it by signing up for more cable channels. I left him early in the next year and threw the plate against the cinder block wall with gusto. I was pregnant with our twins. A little over 20 weeks. I'm a bigger girl. But not to the degree that my mill seems to think. Especially during pregnancy when I lost weight the entire 8 months lol. It's Christmas night. I'm exhausted. And my feet started swelling. She excitedly handed me my present to shin length. All black. Long sleeve and turtleneck moo. About 2 sizes too big. I literally just stared at it. Looked at my then fiancé. Looked back. And mustered up all my energy to say thanks. And put it back in the box. We left about 15 minutes after that lol. My mother bought me a 4-probe Bluetooth equipped meat thermometer. I've been vegan for years. A Starbucks gift card with a $0 balance and a gallon-sized Ziploc bag of coffee straws. The straws are at least useful. The gift card was just mean. I'm glad I had enough money when I tried to use it though. LOL. It wasn't the gift itself. But my dad misspelled my name on the packaging. It really hurt my feelings but he made it out to be a big joke. When I was 10 years old money was rather tight for my family. So my parents bought a hammer and nails for my 5 siblings and I told us to get creative and build something. That was a really sad Christmas. That was also all any of us got. A hammer and nails. My mother-in-law gave me red lacy panties. My sister's father. I wanted Pokemon Sapphire or Ruby so bad for Christmas it was the only thing I asked for. A few days before Christmas he came home with a GBA cartridge wrapped in wrapping paper and set it on one of the Christmas tree branches. He said you can't open it until Christmas excitedly so my 3rd grade brain assumed he had gotten what I asked for. Christmas Day comes and I open it immediately to see Ice Age 2, the meltdown staring at me. It was the first time I faked liking a present. My grandpa was planning on giving me a tissue box with money in it, still not sure why. Anyway he wrapped the wrong box and I opened a box of tissues on Christmas morning. When I was 5, I had gotten a Sephora gift card from my grandma. My mom ended up using it. My mom bought me a pair of boxers that have ticket stubs that say admit 1. She instructed me, in front of everyone to wear them when I want to have sex with my wife so that we can make her another grandbaby. My grandma got me book 9 of The Wheel of Time. I hadn't read books 1-8. So it sat unread on my shelf for years. My mother's historically terrible at gifts. Like she's so goddamn bad. She's okay for little kids but past like 8 years old you're getting random ass shit. I got a piece of driftwood at 10. I'm a legit silver plater for when I'm older at 16. I mean I still own it and it might be worth like IDK $50 but it's not what I wanted at all. IDK I feel like she just goes to antique stores and randomly picks up crap for me. When I was in college, I was really into baking. I asked mom for a Pyrex measuring cup for Christmas. That's all. The cost wouldn't be an issue in my family. She gave me a cheap plastic measuring cup. When I was 10 years old my grandparents gave me an unwrapped suitcase for Christmas. In the interests of convenience. They used that suitcase for the wrap presents for my sisters. The entire family gathered together and everyone is opening nice gifts. I got my husband a very nice watch. A leather bag laptop bag for school. He had just started after serving in the military. And his favorite cologne, which was expensive also. I spent a good amount on him. He hands me my gift. I open it. It was a handheld vacuum cleaner. The entire family goes silent. I looked at him with an "are you kidding me" look. He says with a smile. So you can vacuum out your car and don't have to spend quarters at a car wash. I went into the bedroom and bawled. This was the only thing he got me. I used a candle. My dad. His first Christmas divorced and living alone. First time ever shopping for us, clearly LMAO because my mom did all the shopping before. Got me a nose hair trimmer. I was 12. And definitely did not understand why I got that gift. A size 3XL dark pink sweater from my sister. I wore XL and was very vocal about hating the color pink. But my sister had just lost like 80 pounds. Probably about the sweater for herself before she lost weight, then never wore it. So she took it out of her closet and gave it to me. My sister is 25 years older than me and I was in my 20s at the time. This wasn't just youthful ignorance. Weight Watchers. I was 13. And a healthy weight. Just curvy wasn't exactly in at the time. I was 5'7". And 120-ish. But had big hips and a butt. I see now that I wasn't big. But at the time, I was devastated. My great aunt and uncle gave me a case of mac and cheese for Christmas once. With the added rule that I had to share it with my brother. Edit, mac and cheese. I was in my mid-20s. And my brother got me a butterfly headband. A beanie that was knit to look like a veiny eyeball. And kiss jewelry. The tag had our foster sister's name on it scratched out. I'm guessing because she went back to her mom's for Christmas that year. She was 8. I felt completely unvalued. It truly is the thought that counts, and he didn't think about me at all. I stopped buying him gifts after that year. I couldn't look at gift giving the same after that. Knowing I wasn't worth any thought at all. That I was only worth a cancelled gift to someone else. In the early 2010s, my aunt, whose son sexually assaulted me for years when I was young, gifted all the girls in the family rape whistles personal alarms. When we were all opening that gift, she looked right at me and said, "You never know when you'll need it." She didn't know what her son had done at the time. And she didn't realize how fucked that gift really was. But despite that, it was a wildly inappropriate and very scary Christmas gift. I was 14. Not one I got. One I didn't get. My mom crocheted my 2 sisters' tablecloths and gave it to them in front of me. I just stood there, trying not to cry. I've been there. My sister-in-law made quilts for all the other women in the family, but not for me because I don't have children. They weren't child-themed quilts nor given as shower gifts, but she feels the need to reward people for breeding. I guess. We couldn't have kids and she knew that. I hope she rots. My ex-husband gave me a gift of half the cost of my monthly bus pass. Half. Like. You have no idea what to give me. So you'll pay for me to get to work for a month. But not the whole amount because that's too much. Electronic scissors. I was 7. Edit, electric scissors. Not electronic. They do sound cool. When the Tamagotchi craze was in full swing, my siblings and I asked for one. My sisters both got one. And I got a jacket because mine was torn up and small. When I asked my dad why I didn't get one and if Santa thought I did something bad that year, he told me I was too old for Santa and needed to learn life isn't fair. I was 8. My sisters were 7 and 5. From that point forward, I only ever received clothing. Blueprints for the Starship Enterprise. From my brother, who was a big Star Trek fan. I did not watch Star Trek. But most years he gave me awesome gifts. Some of which I still have. I got the same sweater 3 years in a row. A set of luggage. I was graduating that year. The message was pretty clear. I got a bunch of combs and a cheap children's chemistry set that I already had 3 of. My brother got some DS games and a Lego Star Destroyer. A bottle of body wash. It was from a friend who, in the same year, I'd gone out of my way to get a personal gift for her. A plushie of a character we both loved. She was delighted with her end of the exchange. And in return I got that. Just a generic bottle of Axe body wash fresh off the grocery store shelf. And nothing else. She was quick to assure me that it wasn't because I smelled bad or anything. But I'm not sure what other message I'm supposed to take from that. 7 flannels. I was in a grunge phase in the 90s and wore a few flannels. One Christmas every single gift I unwrapped was a flannel. I kept the smile on my face and thanked them each time, but as I watched my family open other shit, I was internally thinking my parents either hate me or they think I'm the dumbest fuck. My mum is notorious for bad presents. I've had such delights as toothpaste and vitamin pills wrapped up for me at Christmas. But one that stands out was a car crash kit. It had a disposable camera for recording the scene, a form for both parties to fill out, a tape measure for measuring, I dunno stuff, and some chalk for what I assume was for marking out where the dead bodies landed. Or something. I dunno. I once was gifted an extension cord for European outlets while I lived in the US. When I was 12 I bought myself a Kindle. Me and my sister spent an entire summer working for our grandpa and stepdad to save up for them, each of us spending about $200. My mom got all three of my brothers a Kindle for Christmas and I got some clothes from Old Navy. I was livid, and when I talked to my mom about it she told me that my sister and I had been excluding our brothers from hanging out while we played video games and it was unfair. She never apologized or saw anything wrong with what she did. And I honestly still haven't forgiven her almost a decade later. My husband's stepmother gave me, a 36-year-old at the time, a kindergarten-size backpack, and when I opened it she said, "I actually bought that for, a child, a few years ago and she hated it, so I threw it in a closet and I saw it and thought you'd like it. None of us did. We all think it's ugly." That same year they gave my 3 kids gifts totaling altogether $15 with the clearance stickers on them, while her biological granddaughter opened a $300 unicorn, which they made sure we knew cost $300. And then they pointed out to everyone our clearance stickers and what great deals they were. They weren't. And then they made my kids leave the room so the granddaughter could take pics alone with her unicorn. It was the last Christmas we visited them. LOL. Dehydrated retried beans and an old window. Not even joking. One time when I was 15 or 16, my drug addict mom sobbed all of Christmas because she hates my family. And my dad demanded I drive him to a hotel while he was in a drunken rage. Their selfishness was the worst gift, I suppose. My dad sort of stereotypically buys things for people that he wants. On the surface it's understandable. I like this thing, so it must be a good present, but no. That's not what I mean. When my siblings and I were 8, 11 and 15 respectively, my dad bought us an electric toothbrush. No. Not an electric toothbrush each. An electric toothbrush. Which he then promptly reclaimed and I believe still uses. One year I got nothing. Not even a card. Not even from the secret Santa I participated in at work. That was a difficult Christmas.